This is WBZ-TV Channel 4, Boston. It's 11:30 a.m. This is Eyewitness News. Weekend Report, Sunday, August 13th, 1967. And that was newsroom Jack Gordon and Shelby Scott. Good evening, everybody, on this August 13th, 1967 on Sunday. Here's what's happened at Eyewitness News at 11:30 a.m. Massachusetts is ready to move toward its first major reorganization in state government since colonial days. The federal government on Saturday approved a $722,000 study project to pave the way for the streamlining of the executive department. Governor Volpe called at a special press conference to outline the program aimed at saving as much as $50 million a year. The massive reorganization would involve more than 200 departments and agencies in the executive department. Robert C. Weaver, Secretary of Housing and Development, joined Volpe in announcing the project along with Housing and Urban Development, the first of its kind in the nation. Weaver's agency will provide $1,356 to cover 12 months of planning. The state's share will be $240,000 plus $80,000 for office expenses. The $80,000 will be only out of the pocket expense to the state, since the $240,000 represents salaries of state officials and employees assigned to do survey work. Massachusetts was chosen because it came in first with an application that seemed to have the greatest promise, Weaver said. The unique federal grant was the first approved under a program which Weaver said was established to encourage government streamlining, particularly in the areas of federal participation. Reorganization of the executive is necessary, Volpe said, because the state is rapidly approaching a budget of $1 billion a year. State government has become almost too cumbersome, he said, with 20 departments permitted by the Constitution and nearly 200 separate agencies reporting directly to the governor. Volpe predicted that the planned realignment will be reducing from more than 200 to about 20 the number of specialists with whom he will have to deal. In industry, he said, no chief executive has more than 8 to 12 persons who report to him directly. This makes for maximum efficiency. Volpe said that there was no decrease in the number of state jobs under the organization. He emphasized that instead the state will be able to make broader use of the personnel now available, thus improvement in services at a savings and tax dollars. Shelby? In November 1966, Representative Silvio Conte of Pittsfield made a 4-day tour of South Vietnam. He returned supporting the war policies of President Johnson. Last Saturday, standing in American Legion Field in Dalton as the Back to the Boys in Vietnam rally, it was obvious that as far as Lyndon Johnson is concerned, Silvio Conte has been a non-believer. Every one of his political instincts told Conte he was taking what was a best calculated risk. He was addressing in a rally that it was sponsored by the American Legions and Veterans of Foreign Wars. He was addressing a rally that has its purpose to determine up a support for the war in Vietnam. He knew something else. He knew that his office sent out 40,000 questionnaires in its congressional district to test public sentiment on Vietnam. And he knew that of 5,000 people who have responded, 53.2% said that they favored the current policies in Vietnam, and 70.6% said they favored escalation of the war.
$20 for the tumbler. Let's go to the next one. We'll shake that off. Let's go to the next one right away. Go ahead, George.
Democrats in the legislature stood firm Saturday behind a bill calling for redistricting of the House on the basis of population, even though this may conflict with the Massachusetts Constitution. Governor Volpe rejected the bill Friday, sending it back to the House with a recommendation for redistricting on the basis of registering voters as provided in the Constitution. The Democrats argued that the formula development for the House will, in the spirit of one man, one vote rule of the Supreme Court, and that in a situation when state and federal constitutions conflict, the federal constitution will be upheld. The bill divides in the House calls for a district for each 22,000 people with allowance for a 15% variance in either direction. Representative Joseph M. Kearney, Democrat of Hyde Park, said Saturday that the commission set up for the purpose of studying redistricting felt was keeping the court at the base of elections on the population rather than voter registration. They assumed any other way would be contrary to the Supreme Court ruling.
Sorry, last base is 36.
In Saigon, South Vietnam civilian candidates agreed on Saturday to make an abbreviated campaign tour beginning Tuesday. Candidate Trung Dinh Du, a spokesman for the 8 civilians who signed the covenant, quickly told the press that the agreement was not final. Many issues remain to be worked out between the candidates and the government, Zhu said. a week after Soviet and South Vietnamese president campaign tour of the provinces was originally scheduled to
When I say 3, lift it up. Ready? 1.
begin. The campaign is in shambles. The 8 million candidates are unhappily allied and trying to speak with one voice to a government that is also in the campaign for president and has been chosen to ignore them. For the United States, the last week has been particularly damaging. In Vietnam, only Saigon is fully aware of prideful statements and cautious politicking and that buried what many had been hoped would be an precedent on the surface at least dramatic campaign. In the provinces, the Vietnamese people do not get newspapers. The only news comes from the government-controlled broadcast stations, which has not followed the political debate between the civilians and the government closely. The collapse of the campaign is more than collapse in an idea than in a vital democratic process. This is why Americans are particularly distressed by the development of late week. In Saigon, United States Air Force planes returned to the Hanoi area on Saturday for the second day in a row to bomb another key bridge in North Vietnam. American military spokesman said today that the 2 American planes were shot down in the raids and their 3 crewmen were listed as missing. The spokesman declined comment on communist reports that at least 8 U.S. planes were shot down over North Vietnam on Saturday. In a new attack, the U.S. jets blasted a bridge across the Des Rapids Canal 5 miles northeast of the capital. On Friday, American warplanes bombed the vital Paul Dummer Bridge 1.7 miles from the center of Hanoi. England ought to be fighting at the American side in South Vietnam, Randolph S. Churchill said Saturday. It's probable that our own country hasn't played a part. America is our natural ally. We ought to be at your side. The British historian biographer journalist said Churchill wasn't in Boston this weekend, confirming what it is. Publisher Houghton Mifflin coming on as biographical tribute to his father, the late Sir Winston S. Churchill, the late British Prime Minister. He was conferring on as publisher of the 6-Day War on a book on the Arab-Israeli conflict he co-authored with his son Winston S. Churchill. The 80,000-word volume will be published next month. It was published in England on Friday. The Boston Globe is realizing 30,000 words of the work.
If you're 50 or over, call now to request your...
J. George Schultz, right halfback of the ill-fated 1952 Boston University football team, was killed Friday when he fell on a mountain in Eugene, Oregon. Here again, it's the team's quarterback and 5 other players have died from untimely accident or disease. Schultz, the father of 6 young children, lived in Worcester until moving to Sacramento, California 6 years ago. He was climbing in the Cascade Mountains with 4 of his children and his brother when the accident occurred Friday. The brother, Robert J. Schultz of Corvallis, Oregon, said that they were climbing along a glacier on the 10,470-foot middle peak of the Three Sisters mountain group when a landslide knocked the others down in a 200-foot slope. Moscow Premier Alexei Kazin demanded a blunt personal note Saturday that Red China made it free of a Soviet freighter and then its jailed captain and crew members of the Chinese Yellow Sea in part of Darien. In a virtual threat sent to Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai in the Soviet-headed government indicated that the ship's status was not released, the Soviet Union might sever relations with Communist China. In Lenore, West Virginia, 50 rescuers spurred on the pleas of a police hurry dug a 15-year-old boy out of a sandstone well Saturday, 24 hours after its sides had collapsed on him. I'm all right, courageous Leonard voice said rescuers en route to Williamson, West Virginia Memorial Hospital. My right shoulder hurts a little, my legs are a little numb, but there's a feeling in them. Captain Kurt Phillips on the Williamson Life Savings Crew said that the boy seems to be in great shape for what he's going through.
Well, the prize is...
I'm amazed at his condition, Phillips said. Okay, in sports, last night the Boston Red Sox lose a 2-1 decision to the Anaheim Angels in Anaheim before a crowd of 32,821.
Thank you very much, Rob. Walter, what's that? 900.
Today, the Red Sox and Angels square off at 4 p.m. with Bell on the mound. Wow. Jack Hamilton on the mound for the Angels here. Today, the Boston Patriots square off in Harvard Stadium in Cambridge for a date with the Baltimore Colts as Johnny Unitas and Don Shula brings his crew to town. And in Cleveland Heights, the War of 1812, the British burned down the White House in Washington. California, Bill and Jean Moffett King and Texas Nancy Richard, that's where they were trying to get. Even at the Saturday afternoon, their fiery performances in singles sending their United States to a 2-0 lead over the Great Britain in the 29th edition of Whiteman Cup Tennis Series. Alright, El Boy will have the weather after this commercial break on Eyewitness News. Stay tuned.
Your kitchen comes with everything needed for the perfect barbecue. Includes a gas grill, refrigerator.
First, First National Store, super savings plus everyday bargains. Whoop, you come first. Monday, Tuesday specials on pork chops, best center cut, one price only, first choice meats. What does one price mean to you? No merchandise, gimmick, or fancy names pulled out of hat. No matter what you call them, thin slice of pan fries, thick cut of regular cut pork chop, so pork chop at First National. You pay on one price for only highest quality center cut pork chops at 78 cents.
Yeah, that's right. But we need to get rid of one of these middle numbers to make it the right price. Can't remember which one. Do we get rid of the 9, the 8, or the Southern 9?
The first 9?
And you come first at First National Stores.
You're right, Anna. 9.
Alright. WBZ-TV Channel 4 Boston presents Eyewitness Weather with Al Boyer. Brought to you by First National Stores. Super savings plus every different box. You come first with First National Stores. Here now, Al Boyer. Thank you very much. Right now, our current conditions at Logan Airport, Boston, Massachusetts at 11:30 a.m. at Logan Airport, 68 degrees at the temperature with a dew point about 58 degrees. Humidity 70%, barometer 3.14 inches. Visibility 50 miles per hour, winds east, northeast about 15 and a condition overcast skies. Around the region it is 69 out in Bedford, 69 out in Lawrence and Beverly, 64 out in Fitchburg and Worcester with light rain, 68 out in Norwood, a lot of 62s in Taunton and Plymouth and New Bedford and Hyannis and Martha's Vineyard and down in Nantucket, it's got 61 degrees, 67 out in Providence, 67 in New Haven and New York City with light rain, and the New Haven, New York corridor, 70 out in Hartford, 69 out in Springfield and in Albany, 69 out in
CancerCenter.com and find out if you are
Nashua, 70 out in Portsmouth, pair 67s out in Concord and Manchester, New Hampshire, 52 out in Mount Washington, New Hampshire, pair 70s in Burlington and Montpelier, Vermont, and 72 out in Portland, 72 in Bangor, Maine, and pair 68 in Augusta and Portland, Maine.
mornings have more tickles.
Whereas around the nation today, a couple of little patches of rain showers in the Mid-Atlantic states stretching on to the Carolina coastline and down to the Georgia and Florida coastline here. And it'll be cool and rainy out in the northeastern states, stretching into the Midwestern and stretching in the southern tier of the country here. It'll be warm in the southern plain states from Texas to Oklahoma and down to Kansas and Nebraska. And a couple of patches of showers in some of the New Mexico, Central Colorado, down to Central Wyoming and on to Montana here. Alright. Boston vicinity forecast goes like this. For Sunday, mostly cloudy, continued cool. Chance of occasional light rain, highest temperature in the upper 60s to low 70s. Northeast wind about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Sunday night, Monday, mostly cloudy, continued cool with chance of some rain. Probably a rain 40% Sunday. And Sunday night, so if you're going to the Patriots game at Harvard against the Colts, bring your raincoat with you. For Massachusetts, mostly cloudy and cool Sunday with a chance of occasional rain in these portions. Highest temperature in the upper 60s to low 70s Sunday. Cloudy with a chance of rain Sunday night and Monday and continuing cool. Rhode Island, cloudy and cool with a chance of occasional rain Sunday and Sunday night. And Monday, highest temperature Sunday near 70 degrees. For Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Fair north portions, considerable cloudiness, south portions, and little temperature change Sunday, Sunday night, and Monday. Highest temperature Sunday in the 70s. If you're going to next one, Montreal, most the same, warmer Sunday, highest Sunday at Montreal, 55 degrees. Marine forecast east to northeast wind about 10 miles to 15 knots on Sunday. Cloudy weather with chance of occasional light rain, visibly over 6 miles per hour. But zonal forecast for southeastern Massachusetts, Cape Colony Islands, cloudy and cool with a chance of rain Sunday night and Monday. Highest temperature Sunday in the upper 60s, northeast to east wind about 10 to 15 knots to 10 to 15 miles per hour Sunday. And the Berkshires, mostly cloudy and cool Sunday, Sunday night, and Monday has temperature Sunday low 70s and light north to northeast winds. Sunset 7:50 p.m. Moon rise 2:50 p.m. and moonset 11:59 p.m. Turn on lights at 8:20 p.m. High tide 6:20 p.m. and low tide 11:48 a.m. in about 4 minutes. There. Full moon August 19th 10:27 p.m. Last full moon August 20th at 1:25 a.m. New moon September 4th 7:38 a.m. and first full moon September 10th at 11:06 p.m. And that's me for the Eyewitness News on the Sunday, August 13th, 1967 on a Sunday. I'm P. with it alongside Jack Borden and Shelby Scott and Al Boyer and Bob Starson. I hope you have a good evening. I will see you. Have a good day, and we'll see you back at 6 o'clock for Eyewitness News. Have a good evening.
Right over there. You go over. Come on.